Hey guys, and in this tutorial on Motion 5 we're going to be looking at the Behaviors tab and how we can begin to add some random movement and behaviors to our gauge. So this gauge we created in the previous tutorial, which was on masks, so you can find the link to that on my blog, which is Final Cut Pro tutorials.wordpress.com, and you can also download from there the project files for this particular tutorial series. So here is our gauge that we made in the previous tutorial together with some masks, and we animated it so that it climbs up to full. So this could be a gas gauge or something like that. Now what I want to do is add some random movement to this. I want this gauge to flicker something like this as it's coming up. So how do we do that? Well, we'll come over to our mask that we are animating here. So this is the mask that we're animating. You can see there how it scales along that axis to get bigger and smaller. So we want to add some random movement to this scale. So what we would do is come over to our scale here, and the scale value which we're changing is our X scale. So what we would do is select the X scale there, and we'll right click on it, and we will go to add parameter behavior, and you'll see there's a list of different behaviors that come up here. The one we're going to look at today is randomize. So we select randomize, and now in our behaviors tab you'll see we have these various parameters. So you can generate a random seed, so this will change the randomization. So if you had several of these gauges maybe that we copied and you want each one to move differently, you would just generate a different random seed for each one of those. We can set start and end offsets. You can see here the parameter which we're going to apply this to, so that's our transform scale X, which is correct. That's what we want to move. And we can either choose to add, subtract, multiply, or add and subtract from this value. So if, for example, let's go down here. Well, first of all, we don't want this randomize to actually take effect until we finish our climb up. You see at the moment we want to go up to full scale, and then I want to begin the flickering. So we'll select our randomization to start, so we'll hit I for in. So it will start here after we already reached the top. And what we're going to then do is we will choose to subtract, because our scale is already full. So we don't want to add, we don't want to scale up any further. We want to scale down and back up to here where we are now. So we would choose in our apply mode, subtract in this instance. We'll then choose the amount that we want that random behavior to work by. So we'll increase the amount that it will move by. We can increase the frequency, which is how often it will actually fluctuate. And our noise, that's a little bit of jiggling about or noise which we're going to get. So once we've done that, and now if we play our effect, you'll see now we get this random movement. That's a little bit too much, the frequency is high, so let's turn our frequency down, and we'll turn our noise down a little bit as well, and now let's see what that looks like. You'll see now we get a smoother movement as our gauge will move around. We could increase the amount that we're going to move a little bit more, and we could maybe decrease the frequency slightly, and let's play that again. So there we go. That's our random movement. So you could apply this to any parameter actually. We could also apply it to rotation or scaling. In fact, any of the parameters that we have here, you could also apply it to. So you could also apply it to opacity, for example. So we could come over to the properties of this here, and we could go to our opacity, and you'll see that we can change the opacity there. So we could make this flicker. So let's go ahead and add a flickering effect to the opacity. So again, we'll right click on it, add parameter behavior, we go to randomize, generate a new random seed, and let's increase the amount a little bit. Again, we want to subtract, we'll down our frequency and up our noise. Now let's watch that and how it affects our opacity. So you'll see now there's a little bit of flickering also to the opacity of this. Let's increase the amount that we're going to flicker by, and let's play this again. So there we go. Now you get this flickering effect as well as our movement, and it's all random. So you could keyframe animate this, but it would take a lot of effort, very tedious job to keyframe these parameters. So this is a very useful way of linking a specific parameter of one of our objects to a specific type of behavior. Now we could use another technique called linking, and what that will do is it will allow us to link the behavior of one parameter with another. So for example, let's say we want our whole gauge to flicker, including the outline. If we were to apply another flicker effect to this, then it would also flicker, but it wouldn't necessarily flicker in the same sequence because it's random flickering, so unless it had the same seed. But there's another thing that we could do, which would be to apply a link behavior. So we'll come to our outline, which is this white outline here. We go down to opacity, would right click on it, add parameter behavior, and we would go to link. Now what we want to do is link that with our source object. Our source object is the flickering of our object here. So what we do, we go over to our link, we drag our object into here. So the properties blending opacity from this object is going to be copied, those parameters will be copied to our blending opacity of our outline, the object that we're linking to. And now when we play this, you'll see that everything will flicker in synchronization with each other. That's pretty cool. That's a very brief introduction to behaviors. You can see that in that behaviors list there's a lot of others, and in future tutorials we'll be covering each one of these behaviors individually so you can see how it works and what type of effect it creates. Or you can play around with them yourself. It's pretty easy, straightforward to create this type of linking and behaviors. It's a bit of a hidden feature of Motion 5. You have to dig around maybe a little bit for it. It's not so obvious that you can right click on one of these and add this behavior. Another way you can add behaviors would be to go to the library, and of course we have the behaviors list here, and you could drag one of those behaviors onto a specific object also. So that's another way that you can apply these behaviors, but there's a very quick and easy way of doing it where you just right click on the particular parameter and then add the behavior that you desire. So I hope you found this useful. Thanks for tuning in. Please like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and head over to my blog, Final Cut Pro Tutorials.wordpress.com, where you can download the project files and keep up to date with all of my latest developments and tutorials for Final Cut Pro and Motion 5. I'll see you next time.